Hello and welcome back to the GorillaBiker, and today what we're doing is fitting VORTEX rear sets to my SV650. Due to me being tall, you can't see it, but it's right there, and we'll be doing that in a second. And what I'm gonna have to do is fit obviously the rear brake hand side and then spin the whole bike around, which is going to be a pain, so you can see the other side because the lights are there, and obviously without lights you can't see anything. But yeah, without further ado, let's start fitting these. It does come with some instructions. The only thing you'll really need is a 5mm, whatever is on this, it could be more, 5mm to loosen off your rear brake master cylinder, which obviously I had off fairly recently. You'll also need some red Loctite, which goes, well, you'll see where it goes. Actually, it only goes on the toe peg one. So I'm going to put some blue Loctite on these bolts as well. So I'm just going to grab that. In fact, I'll probably put blue Loctite on quite a few of the bolts just because it's obviously seeing a lot of pressure and vibration throughout time on track. But first and foremost, you probably also will want to pull the securing pin at the back here, which I only had out very recently. And yes, I did pre-loosen all these bolts, by the way. They're not actually this loose. I'm also going to change those bolts because I have better ones now. These were a stand-in for, if you watch the whole rebuild thing, they were a stand-in for the stripped bolts that I previously had to remove off there. So yeah, these, I'm not sure what size your ones will be. I think they were also a 5mm. Yeah, so these, I had 5mm in there. I don't know what the stock ones were. And these here are the stock bolts, and they were a 6mm Allen. But we're starting with the brake side because it should be a little bit easier. What I do need to do now is figure out. So you do obviously have a retention spring or a return spring there, and then we will have to take out this as well. And I do have a new cotter pin to put in here. All right, so there's the cotter pin out, and then that lets you push out your little retention bolt that holds your master cylinder in place. So now we should be able to just take this whole thing off. So your rear master cylinder should just kind of hold there. So then we got to open up our lovely VORTEX rear set. So these VORTEXes I did buy from STG, and they are adjustable. So that was a large part of the reason I got them, just to try to get my legs into a better position. Okay, this is going to take me a while to get all this out, so I'll be back. Okay, I think that's probably the hardest part of this whole job, is getting all the VORTEX stuff out of the wrap. So let's see. So I think first we need to put on the adapter bracket, and the bolts are pretty obvious. So the ones that come in this plate here. Just zoom you back in. And I'm gonna just apply a little bit of blue Loctite to those guys. And again, you don't have to put Loctite onto these. It's just I've had experiences with bolts rattling loose on track duty in the past. So a little bit of Loctite's not gonna hurt anything. Okay, so that's the adapter plate on. Next, what we have, let me try and move this light a little bit real quick. Maybe that's a bit better. Yeah, it's a bit better. So next what we want to do is put on, it looks like, probably assemble everything together and then mount that maybe. Because this here is going to mount somewhere on here where I want it. I'll probably go further back and probably down to begin with. We'll try that. Because I can always change these around later, it's not a big deal. Provided obviously we can still use the brake master cylinder. So next, and it does say, so it's the piece that it says red Loctite is this little bolt here, but I don't know, that's probably already red Loctited. Let me just get an Allen. Yeah, so I think that piece is already Loctited because it's very tight, so we won't worry about that right now. And then I know I probably have to spread this a little bit. Yeah, because that was, I might spread that first. Bear with me. This was kind of squished when I first got it. So I did have to do a little bit of work to get all that working. But what I'm going to do real quick is just stretch this open a little bit, if I can. There we go. That worked fine. And now it fits. Okay, perfect. So I don't want to make it impossible to actually fit everything up. So let's just mock it up and see. Nice long bolt. So that bolt comes back through there. Then we have these really thin little washer guys here. They look like they go on there. And then this whole piece kind of obviously should locate up. It's obviously a very particular way to do this. So I think, yeah, if you put the peg through the actual foot shifter first and then locate that into here and then bolt it in, I think that makes the most sense. And then we'll probably be able to mount everything up while everything loose. Yeah, that makes the most sense. So that's what I would do. I'll tighten this what I can. Okay, I'll probably have to do that when everything's fully mounted up. But next, we're gonna mount this where I think I want it. And the nice thing about this is it should be pretty easy to move around. And all these bolts that Vortex have supplied seem to be size 6. And I'm not tightening anything up yet because I'm just mocking everything up. Slide that over there. Put back in our pin. So now we should be able to just mock this up, see where everything's going to land. This is not the final fit and finish of how I'm doing this, by the way. And you do have to use, so this guy, to remount your brake master cylinder, you do have to use the stock bolts, which obviously I no longer have the stock bolts. So that is something that I'm going to have to, use what I have just because the stock ones are stripped. But this is extremely easy to fit up because that's it pretty much done. Obviously I just have to tighten everything and neaten it up. But the nice thing about this is once you kind of get this mounted, to move this around and try different settings would be really, really easy. But first, let me just throw the seat on and we'll test it. We're up on our rear stand. It looks actually very similar, just further back right now to the stock setting. Oops. And that does actually feel pretty good there. So, yeah, in comparison to the stock one has my foot just further forward. This one actually does feel a lot better. So I think that's where I'm kind of happy with that. So that's where I'm probably going to leave it. Obviously does the spring go back on? I don't see where the spring goes back on. Because you can see with this stock piece, there's a little hole here right behind actually you can't see that because you're zoomed out too far. So here, with the stock one, there's a little hole right here that the kind of return spring goes into. I don't think we have that on this one that I can see. So you can just remove that spring if that's the case. You don't need it anymore. And it doesn't actually say anything in the manual about it, so I'm guessing it's not necessary to use that. So that's the spring that we will no longer be utilizing. So yeah, but I think that looks pretty nice. Just looks wise, it looks kind of bougie. So what I want to do is I'll tighten all this up later. I don't think we need to go through it or whatever else. Obviously, you want to get in behind your foot peg. You want to tighten that up, which is now nice and tight. And then obviously later I'll tighten everything else up as well. But yeah, I mean, so like that's really, really an easy install. And I do think that's the position I'm going to leave everything. I'll probably not blue Loctite the actual foot peg mount bolts. Obviously I blue Loctited these two here, but these ones I'll probably leave in case I want to swap them around after the first session at Barber, just in case they're not good there. But yeah, I do need to finish obviously mounting up the rear brake master cylinder, which I will do. That won't take very long. It's pretty straightforward, pretty easy. But for now, we'll call that pretty much done. I'll obviously come back and tighten everything up off camera. I don't want to be showing you too much. But the one thing to just be careful of is this front foot peg is marked as red Loctite. Now it seems that my one did come red Loctited, but just obviously be aware for yourself that that's something that you may need to red Loctite. I don't know that they all come like that. But yeah, so far the hardest part of this side was actually getting everything out of the package. Now, one thing I realized I made a mistake on was you're actually supposed to lubricate these washers here. So when I'm finished the video, I'm going to go back and lubricate the other side. Now, the reason this whole thing came about is this. Now, obviously I have loosened those bolts slightly, but the slop in that shifter peg did cause me some hassle once or twice. So that is honestly the bulk of the reason that we're doing this. So to remove this, it's going to be a little bit easier. First and foremost, what you're going to want to do is just open off your locking nuts, because you're going to reuse this piece here. If you can see that, yeah, you're going to reuse this front piece. Right here, you're going to reuse that. So I'm just going to take these lock nuts off pretty much the whole way. And remember, one of these lock nuts on both sides are going to be reverse thread, so just be aware of that. When you're removing it, if you get a little bit confused as to why it's not moving, one of them is reverse thread. And again, I did pre-loosen these just for the sake of saving time in the video. And again, this side should be pretty easy. Should just be able to turn this whole assembly off the bar. Which we can, and then you should be able to just wind out the other side like so. This, when I actually got the bike originally, I don't know what you remember, was also banana, so I did straighten it out, but obviously it was still a bit bananaed. So back again for assembly. All I'm going to do is obviously first put on the main plate, and again I'm just going to blue Loctite that. I think you have to reuse the little lock nuts off the stock shifter rod by the looks of it. One of these is shorter and one of these is longer. I'm guessing the longer one is if you're going GP shift. I'm going to leave it standard shift for now, so we'll try that. I'm just going to put these lock nuts all the way onto the bar so that we can use them later. Those Vortex bars are also far beefier than the stock. So then next what I'm going to do is assemble the whole peg piece again. And this time obviously I'm going to lubricate those washers as the book suggested. I'll lubricate them real quick. They're also quite difficult to pick up, these little washers. They're really thin little pieces of metal. So having grease on your fingers actually helps. And what we're going to do is just pop one onto the peg like that. And then we're going to go through. And we're going to put on the second one. And then we're going to put that into the locator, which is, I don't know, will you be able to see that? But it's actually, yeah, it's not going to focus for me, of course. But it's in there, you'll see it. It only fits one direction. Then hold it all together, put the bolt through, and tighten that in. Probably need to buy a camcorder. That might work a little bit better. So again, you're gonna have to go back and like tighten that up when everything's bolted up, because otherwise it'll be impossible. These adjusters, how they work is you loosen off these and then you actually twist to set your position. Because if you don't twist them together, then you'll end up with a bit of a mess. So we'll mount this up first and we'll see about putting the bar in then. What I'm gonna do is just mock everything up where I had it on the other side, which is at the lowest and furthest back position. I'm sure you could put these higher if you're worried about ground clearance. I am not currently worried about ground clearance, but it'd be pretty easy to move this if it does become an issue on the track. Because honestly, fitting these up so far has been pretty straightforward. So then let's try get these to work happily together. I'm just going to put that in like one thread. We'll start over here actually. Okay. This is gonna be a pain in the bum bum. Actually, you can take this off back here, I see. I'm gonna try and not do that and just twist it on in a silly way. We got it. My little method worked. So you can see as I twist that in, well, I don't know, can you see? As I twist this one direction, when it's hooked up, essentially what you see is it moves the peg up and down, right? And that's basically how you set your peg position. You loosen off those adjusters like that, and then you can actually move your peg up and down. So let me try to show you that a little bit better. So this might be difficult to see, but watch the peg here as I twist. It moves down and it moves back up. So that's basically maximum height, which I think is too high. So I'm just going to set it there roughly for now. And then you want to put out your lock nuts all the way out. And then we're going to pinch those up, which is a 10mm. And that just basically locks the whole assembly in place. You don't need to go mad tightening these, they should not move. And just remember that one of them is reverse thread. So that's how that works, right? You basically, as you turn this bar, one side is threaded one way and the other side is threaded the other way. So as you turn right, this is pulling in and this is pulling in, and then vice versa. So obviously if they were threaded the same direction, that would not work. But let's give it a quick test. That feels so much better, and I thought I had an issue with actually changing gear, but it turns out it was just, unsurprisingly, that this was, you know, too loose. I'll have to find my longer piece to get that. So now what I'm going to do is go back here and tighten up that bolt. If I can, it doesn't actually seem to fit. So we might have to loosen this off just to tighten up that back bolt. Not a big deal, we have it all set up, so I don't need to bring you through tightening that up. So that's it, all in all, a pretty simple, straightforward job on this bike. Honestly, very happy I did it because they look a lot better and they are going to give me that adjustability. The shifts already feel so much better. Now I'm probably going to have to adjust some things, you know, like I'm going to have to adjust my toe peg positions on both sides. Basically, if you're adjusting the left-hand side, all you do is loosen off those two lock nuts and twist that bar, and it'll either raise or lower the toe peg to wherever you want it, the actual shifter peg. And on the right side, there's a little lock bolt on your brake master cylinder. And if you want a video on that, I can show you how to adjust rear brakes, because it's the same on pretty much all bikes that don't have drums on the back. Drums are adjusted slightly differently. But again, you can adjust that toe position. And that's something I'm going to have to actually ride the bike and see, you know, even when I'm moving it to the trailer, when we're going down to Barber, I'll be able to tell how that feels. But for now, all I'm going to do is tighten up all the bolts. I'm going to have to pop, unfortunately, open up the right hand side and actually lube up those washers, just because I didn't do it on the right hand side, and I don't think you need to see that. But yeah, really straightforward. So I mean, if you're looking to get Vortex rear sets for your bike, to add that little bit of adjustability, or honestly the shift feel on that feels so much better. Now again, my original bar was bent. The actual, this here, you can probably see the amount of movement. Hold on, I'll come over closer. The amount of movement in this guy, that is literally not a joke. That is how much movement is in there. What happens is, over time, the bush that's in there just kind of breaks down, and I'm pretty certain this one was also dropped. You can even see, and I did try tighten this up, but you can even see that's actually moving. Probably hear it within it. So this was damaged, so I needed to spend money on this side anyway. And honestly, why spend money on, you know, the OEM, which would have probably been like a third of the cost to get all right, instead of just spending the money on Vortexes, which, I mean, are superior to OEM rear sets anyway, just because they have adjustability, they have bearings on their actual shift linkage and everything else, so they're just nicer. And yeah, now I feel super racery. So yeah, if you've watched, thank you very much for watching. Hopefully this was useful to someone out there. If not, just let me know what you think. Do they look better than the stock? I think they look better than the stock. And yeah, until next time, thank you very much for watching. As always, a very special thank you to all of my patrons. I do appreciate your support a lot. And yeah, that's it. Thanks again for watching. Adios. Outro crew. Look how slick these things look. The outro crew always gets the extra little chats, because I feel like the outro crew cares more, you know. But look at these. Look at these. Hold on. Let's just. You get the slow zooms and everything. Look at that. Doesn't that look better? I think that looks better. I think that looks really, really nice on there. Now I just wish I had a black frame, which I can't remember what year SV650 is a black frame, but my friend Tom, he just got an SV650 and he got a black frame, and I'm kind of jealous. But I still think they look really, really nice on there, and I'm really looking forward to trying them out on track. So what do you think? Do they look better? I think they look better. Bye, outro crew.